A lot of people are asking how to start a prepper pantry. So in this video, I'm going to give you 10 tips on how to get started, and it's coming up. If we're just meeting, I'm Denise Jordan, and I teach traditional homemaking for today's homemaker. So if you want to learn more about making and keeping a home, subscribe and double tap that little bell icon so you don't miss any upcoming videos. I'm in the process of building out my 3-month prepper pantry, and I've gotten a lot of questions about that. If you missed the video where I shared my 3-month prepper pantry, just getting started, I'll link it above with an iCard and in the description box below. But I've had quite a few questions, and many people are wondering how to get started. So I thought I would just share with you 10 tips that I've learned about how to get started building your 3-week or 3-month prepper pantry. So tip number 1 is to make the decision that you are going to prepare an extended pantry for your family, because once you make the decision, then you can begin to put a plan into action. And part of that plan will include taking an inventory of what you already have, what you normally use on a day-to-day basis. Because once you take an inventory of what you have, think about how long this particular item or that particular item normally lasts, then you kind of know what it is that you need to bring in. So again, the inventory will help you to determine what it is that your family typically uses, and then you will purchase foods to augment the food storage that you already have. So you're going to build that food supply out, or that extended pantry, to 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, until you've got enough food on hand to tide your family over in any emergency for a 12-week period, because the 3-month or 12-week food storage is considered optimum. Now you may be thinking, how am I going to build up a 3-month food supply? I don't have it like that. I can't just go out and spend X amount of dollars to buy a 3-month food supply. And you know what? Most people don't have it like that either. It is built up in small steps. It's a progression. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. That's why when you make the decision to build out your pantry, you take your inventory, you determine what it is, the kind of things that you need to bring in to make your family safe, to have the food insurance that you need for the next 12 weeks. Well, then you decide how you're going to go about doing that. And when you're thinking about the purchases that you make, you want to take into consideration your family's needs. So you're going to take a look at what are the different ages that you may have in your family, what are the different genders that you may have in your family, what are the different food preferences or likes and dislikes of particular foods and things like that, as well as dietary needs and medical needs. You may also need to look at physical capabilities. For example, some older adults with arthritis or people with disabilities may not be able to use a manual can opener to get the lid off. Whereas cans like this, you've got this little pull tab, and it's a lot easier to get the can open. So these are some things you want to take into consideration as you begin to bring in your food stores. And keep in mind that your fridge and your freezer is a part of your 3-month food supply. So there will be things that you will buy that you will stock in your fridge and your freezer, but the majority of the things that you purchase for your extended pantry should be shelf stable. So should there be a power outage, the things in your refrigerator can go bad in 24 hours, and the things in your freezer can go bad in 24 to 72 hours. So it depends upon how long the particular emergency lasts as to whether or not the things in your fridge and your freezer will be accessible. So you do want to have a good number of things on your pantry shelf, on your extended pantry shelf, should power outages occur. And as you're looking at filling your pantry shelves, you want to look at items that are what we call shelf stable. stable. That means they're good on the shelf anywhere from 2 weeks up to a year. So if you've got children in your family and you're needing milk, you can buy several gallons of milk and put them in the freezer. But should the freezer go out because of a power outage, you may also want to have some of those cartons of milk on the shelf that don't require refrigeration until they're open. And you can get those cartons of milk at Kroger, at Walmart, and I even hear that Dollar Tree has some of those cartons of milk that don't need to be refrigerated. So I would say check those places out. Other shelf-stable items include canned meats like canned chicken, canned tuna, or tuna in those little pouches. And they also have chicken in those little pouches. So be sure and purchase those kind of items because they're already cooked. You can eat them straight out of the packet if you need to, but they can also be easily heated up. But the most important thing when you're looking at those kind of items is making sure you check their sell-by date because that's when those items are going to be most fresh. So think about what are the ages, the needs, and those kinds of things of your family members and try to purchase foods accordingly. And tip number 5 includes shopping the sales. You definitely want to try to get the most bang for your buck. So places like Walmart will many times have canned goods that are a little bit cheaper than some of your other big box stores. A lot of times Kroger will have things that are 10 for 10. For example, they had peanut butter 10 for 10 last week, so I picked up 3 cartons of peanut butter. So as you're beginning to build out your pantry and your budget is limited, let's say you decide I'm going to spend $20 on things that I'm going to use to build out my pantry. So maybe so much of that $20 will come from that 10 for 10, or right now Walmart has some canned goods on clearance and they're 50 cents a can. Maybe you might decide to go to Walmart and pick up some extra canned goods in that way. But definitely take advantage of the sales and also places like the Dollar Tree, Aldi, and Save-A-Lot. And please note that I am calling this your extended pantry. It is part of your working pantry. What do I mean by working pantry? It means you're using from that pantry, you're putting things in and you're taking things out. The first things you put in will be the first things you take out. You want to rotate those items so that they don't expire on your pantry shelf. The other thing you don't want to forget as you build out your pantry is water. If you normally buy 2 crates of water for your family, then purchase 4 crates of water, 2 that you're going to be using from immediately and 2 that you're going to be putting into your extended pantry. Now here's the other thing. If we're in a true crisis situation, chances are your family's going to be at home. So that means you're going to be eating more of your meals at home. So you're looking at breakfast, you're looking at lunch, you're looking at dinner. So I would suggest that you try to figure out about how many meals would you need to prepare on a week-to-week basis. So if you're looking at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you're looking at 3 meals a day for say 3 people for a week. How many meals is that? Or maybe you're just going to do 2 meals a day. You're going to do breakfast and you're going to do dinner. And maybe lunch might be some kind of snacky kinds of things. But figure out about how many meals you're going to want to serve during that time of crisis. And then you're going to purchase your foods accordingly. And try to purchase as much of a variety of foods as possible because one of the terms that kept coming up as I was beginning to do the research for my Prepper Pantry was food fatigue. And I found out that food fatigue is when you get tired of eating the same thing. So you want to make sure you purchase a variety of foods that your family enjoys and a variety of spices so that you can use the food up so that you're preparing delicious, tasty meals for your family. Or shall I say delicious and nutritious meals for your family. The other thing I suggest is that you make a list of the things that you need and you keep that list close by. I keep a list of the things that I need here in my phone, and that way when I'm out, I can pick up whatever I have on the list or pick up a few of the items on the list, check them off, and then I'm good to go. The next time I go out, check the list again. Tip number 7 is to make sure you check the sell-by date before you purchase because you don't want to purchase items that are going to expire too quickly. So check those things in the store, and then when you get them home, mark on them with a Sharpie what that sell by date is so that you know which items you need to use up first. For those shelf stable items, things like rice and beans and pasta, those kinds of things, flour, sugar, you want to make sure that you are storing those things appropriately. You got to have the right containers for those. So the best storage option for your flour and sugar and pasta and those kinds of things is glass. Mason jars are perfect for that, but right now people are having a very difficult time finding mason jars. So another great option would be something such as this, some kind of a plastic container that is BPH free. It's got kind of a little suction there that when I put the lid on, it goes down and it keeps it airtight, so I could put my pasta, flour, beans, those kinds of things in that. And these come in a couple of different sizes. I mean, look at this. So there's this small size and then there's this taller size, and the smaller ones are stackable, so I like that. So again, perfect for storing crackers and beans and rice and those kinds of things. And then one thing to keep in mind when you're storing your beans, your rice, your flour, those kinds of things, for very short-term purposes, you can keep them in the packages that they come in. But if you're going to keep them for anywhere from 3 to 6 months on your shelf, then you're probably going to need to put those in the freezer and freeze them first to kill off any insects or larvae that might possibly be in them. And yes, there are insects that come as a part of our food supply. So if you don't want those things germinating, or shall I say hatching, in your rice and flour, you do want to put your rice and your flour and those kinds of things in the freezer, and and then take them out, let them dry, and then put them in your food storage containers. And here's another glass option for your food storage. This one's really cute too. Let me get the lid off. But see, you've got this little plastic thing there to help you keep this jar airtight. Now, whereas this one is food grade to store foods in, you cannot use it to can foods in it. Whereas this is an actual canning jar. And then this is another container that I found to store rice and beans and flour and those kinds of things in. And I really like it because it's got a little pour spout in there. And I picked this up at Walmart, and they do have them now, so you can go and check those out. And again, these are stackable as well. And then there are those that suggest adding bay leaves to your staple items like your rice and those kinds of things, like adding some bay leaves in the containers, because the bay leaves have such a bitter odor to them that the insects don't like it, and so it helps to cut down on infestation of those kind of products. So that's another option to help you keep your shelf stable foods like flour, sugar, cornmeal, those kinds of things from getting infested with bugs. The bugs I'm talking about are weevils, and you don't want to get a weevil infestation in your pantry. Trust me, because if you do, you got to throw out everything that's in there that's in a box, a bag, and then just completely start over. And it can be quite pricey. And chances are, if you see weevils or something like that in your flour or your cornmeal or whatever, it was in there when you brought it home from the store. It's not like you're keeping a dirty house and that's where they came from. No, it was in there already. So that's why we suggest that you freeze your flour and your cornmeal and those kinds of things before you put them in your containers. And that includes your boxes of Jiffy Mix or your boxes of pancake mix. And then a little trick that I just found today, let me just share that with you just real quick, is this. I noticed that at Walmart they were stacking their canned goods on the shelves in little boxes like this. And what I discovered was, hey, this works out pretty good. So let's say you don't have a shelf or something that you could put things in. These cans that are all the same size, you can put them in a little box, and then you can stack another layer of canned goods on top of them. one, maybe even 2 layers. So it can help you with your storage options. So if you're thinking, I don't have anywhere to store a 3-month supply of food. And trust me, I hear you. I'm right there with you. I'm trying to get creative in where I can put foods for my extended pantry, my extended working pantry. So something such as this, you can stack against the wall in an extra bedroom, on the floor in a closet, or under a bed. We've got to get creative and find places to store our foodstuffs so that we can build out our extended working pantry. And then if you look here, you can see the best by date. So the best by date for this one is July 2023. So if you're trying to look at a short-term working pantry, let's say 6 months or less, then as long as the date is within that next 6 to 8 months, you're good. But if you want to eventually work toward a longer-term pantry, then you might want to look at dates that are going to be 2021, 2022, and for this span, this particular can, the sell by date or best by date is 2023. On this box of Jiffy Mix, the best if used by date is 6/10/21, and so it's right here, 6/10/21. And the thing about these is that sometimes the print can rub off. So that's why it will be good to take a Sharpie and just kind of mark that date a little bit more definitively so that you can see it pretty easily. On the tuna, the best by date is marked on here for this one, March 10th, 2025. So these canned items have a pretty long shelf life. I recognize that building a 3-month prepper pantry, a working pantry, can be a little bit overwhelming. But how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So when you make your plan, you're going to decide how you're going to go about it. Either you're going to have your budget of $25 or $100 that you're going to use this week or this month to buy things for your extended working pantry. Maybe as you shop, you're going to pick up 1 item for your extended pantry, or 2 items for your extended pantry, and 1 item for your pantry that you have in the kitchen that you're working with right then. I'm talking pantry right now, and I'm focusing pretty much right now on foodstuffs, but you don't want to forget those other items that are necessary to manage your family. Toilet paper, paper towels, and paper towels are very difficult to find right now. Toilet paper seems to be in, but paper towels are at a premium. Dental hygiene items, so mouthwash, toothbrushes, toothpaste, those kinds of things. Feminine hygiene products, sanitary napkins, tampons, all those things that women need on a month-to-month basis. So body washes and shampoos and just all the things that we use on our bodies, in our homes, for laundry, for cleaning. You want to have those as part of your 3-month supply. So when we talk about our prepper pantry, we're not just talking food. Even though food is the main part and water is the main part, we're also looking at other items that we need to manage our family. And if I forgot to say it earlier, you want to make sure that you are picking up water and more water and more water. You need to have a gallon of water for each individual in your family per day. And if you have pets, you want to add additional items, water for the pet, as well as pet foods and other things that the pets may need, including medicines. And flu season is coming in the fall. So what do you need when you have the flu? What are some comfort foods that you'd like to have in for that? What kind of medications do you need for the allergies? And allergy season is going to be starting. So what medications do you need to store in as well? All of those things need to be a part of your prepper pantry. So in addition to your pantry that you have in your kitchen where you keep your food items, you also are going to have an extended pantry somewhere else in your home where you're keeping things like batteries and toilet paper and other things you need to manage your family. So again, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. As you make your plan, you can decide what you're picking up when. This week, I'm picking up personal hygiene items. Next week, I'm picking up canned meats. The week after that, I'm picking up snack items. You make the plan. You get to decide what it is that you do. The most important thing is to just get started. So here's my question for you. When are you getting started on your 3-month Prepper Pantry? What's holding you back? Tell me in the comment section below. And be sure to check out my video on My Prepper Pantry. I let you see what I was doing to get things started, and I built it out more since then, but you can at least see all the different kinds of foods that I got started with, and it will give you some ideas of things that you need to get started with for your family. And as I said earlier, if you can start with 3 weeks, start with 1 week, and then enough foods for 2 weeks until you can gradually build up to where you need to be. And just so you know, I've raised 3 children and I've managed a home for more than 45 years. So if you want to learn more about making and keeping a home, hit that subscribe button. I can teach you to be a traditional homemaker in an untraditional world. In the meantime, this is Denise Jordan saying you are not done yet. Click on the link in the comment section below and check out my video on My Prepper Pantry. I'll see you next time.